Okay, welcome to the Arcadian podcast. It's episode number 5, and today is February 12th, 2019. I am Matt Franceschi, and I'm here with the usual culprits, Dave Mead, Ben Bachman, and Adam Wolf. And today's main topic is a little bit of a lighter topic than the ones we've been diving into the last couple of weeks. So today we're just going to be talking about some of our favorite video game advertisements and marketing campaigns. Current, past, whatever, even games that are going to be coming out in the future. Trending news. So I know that we have one that Dave, you're really excited about. So Pennsylvania is set to propose a 10% violent video game tax. This would be on all mature rated games. Battlefield 5 did not meet sales expectations. It had 7.3 million copies sold, but that was 1 million short of what EA had expected. 800 employees were just laid off today by Activision-Blizzard, which totals 8% of its total staff, even though they mentioned that they had their best financial year to date. And just a small note that Final Fantasy XIV is free on Twitch Prime until May 3rd for 1 month, which I thought was pretty cool. New games discussion. We're just going to talk about Apex Legends, Resident Evil 2, and Kingdom Hearts 3. And that's what's on the docket. So let's jump into our favorite game advertisements. And does anybody want to start today, or do you just want me to lead off with what we all know is probably the best marketing campaign to date?
I think we should start with the best marketing campaign to date. I like it.
Make your case,
like it.
Matt.
The Halo 3 Believe marketing campaign. It changed the game, I think, for everybody. There was like a point in time where it was like before the Halo 3 Believe campaign and after the Halo 3 Believe campaign. Really changed the landscape of marketing for the video game industry. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but it was like, I don't know if you guys remember it, but like it had a lot of different components to it and a lot of different advertisements like all rolled up into one. And I still remember like seeing them on TV, like whenever they were coming out, and I was like, oh my God, this is like the greatest thing ever. Because I love the franchise. But the main Believe ad was the one where like they had set up the battlefield with all those like hand-painted, handcrafted like Marines and Covenant. And they were like in like the battle. It was like probably like a minute and a half long in total. They're playing like the piano music over it. It's like really sentimental. I swear, like I still cry when I watch it. And like as they go through the different, all the scenes are so well done. Like you can see like explosions happening and like warthogs being rolled over and brutes like like smashing some guy with a hammer. And like obviously the UNSC and humanity are getting like absolutely demolished. Like as you go through like these different shots, you get like a feel for like how the war is going, and it's going really poorly. And then like it kind of pans up into the best shot. It's like like 100 brutes, and like the main like chief brute is holding Master Chief, and like it kind of looks like it's over, like they've captured Master Chief. But then like it zooms into a sticky grenade, like a plasma grenade in his hand, and it like starts to glow. Zooms in on his helmet, like he lifts his helmet up, like like he's still alive and like he's gonna fight back, and then flashes out, all black screen, white letters, Believe, end scene, Tony Award.
I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. Honestly, right? I actually did.
Me too. Yeah, I mean,
you Xbox boys, little babies.
It was. You might be onto something, like pointing to that in history. I didn't realize marketing of Halo 3 has its own Wikipedia page. It was the Believe campaign. It's huge. What Halo 3 biggest entertainment debut in history, September 25, 2007, earning more than 170 million in a few days. Sold 3.3 million copies in the first week.
It wasn't just that like figurine commercial. Like they also had a bunch of different commercials that were like the live action commercials where it was like obviously mock-up interviews, since like Halo didn't actually happen in real life. Although if you watch the commercials,
you might have thought it actually
you could have been fooled. Yeah, you could have been fooled. But like it's this interviewer like going to these older Marines, like speaking about the battles with the Covenant and like what role Master Chief played in each battle, and like how much he meant to the war. And like it has like different like guns, like different replicas of guns. It has like the brute spiker, and it has a shotgun and a sniper and stuff like laying around. The whole thing, it's such a production. Like they could have made like a movie out of it. It's so fucking good.
It does sound really expansive marketing scheme there.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing for sure.
Well, my question is, not being an Xbox boy. I mean, I did have a lot of friends who were Xbox boys, so I know that Halo was a big part of their video game experience. But my question is, to take a closer examination, they already had the fan base because the first two were so popular. Now, I mean, strictly was the marketing for it just really popular, or did the sales of the game actually, I mean, was it noticeable in comparison to the other two?
Yeah, I mean, What's up, Adam?
As far as the sales, or like, was it a good?
Yeah,
game?
the sales. Like, what I mean, one of the things we're obviously going to talk about are these video game advertisements and these campaigns, are they that influential on initial sales over time? You know, what probably initial sales, you would think, but
I'm sure that it had like a little bit of a boost just because it was like just that good. But yeah, I think like you're mentioning, like the Halo franchise was like so big and popular already that everybody was already waiting for
huge. I know.
Well,
with 3, like everybody knew that it was a trilogy, so like I think that like no one really knew like if anything was coming out after that. So like, but everybody knew that 3 was coming. So like 3 was just, it was enormous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things you have to remember about Halo in particular is that the first 2 games were on the original Xbox. They weren't, the original Xbox was not nearly as popular as, you know, when it was competing with the PlayStation 2 at the time. Halo 3 was on the 360. You could argue that the 360 was more or less popular than the PlayStation 3. I believe it launched first, which was probably a factor there. And then
I think you're right, yeah.
That Halo 3 sold way more, almost double Halo 2 and triple the first Halo. So yeah, it was.
Yeah. It's a multi-factor here because, like you said, the first Halo on the new platform. Did you play Halo, Dave, or were you an Xbox a little bit? I mean, the Xbox dude.
No, I didn't really play Halo. I was more of a PlayStation guy back then.
Aha! That's what I like to hear. No, I remember that I was kind of pissed off at Xbox because I think initially, and for a short period of time until Sony got more unique releases. I think that definitely Xbox 360 had more momentum in the beginning because it came out first, and even through like maybe halfway of it the lifespan of when people were still playing the consoles. I just remember a lot of people liked Xbox 360.
Yeah, I mean, I was one of the people that switched from. I had N64 and then PS2 and then Xbox 360. So I really went like full circle. But yeah, I loved the 360. I don't know why. Maybe it was like the look of it, or maybe it was just because of Halo. I used to go to a really good friend's house back when he had the original Xbox, and I used to play Halo 2 with him. And like every time I went over there, it's like all I wanted to do was play Halo 2 because I didn't have it at home. Mm-hmm. It was like I had to get a 360, honestly, like just for 3.
Yeah.
That's how I was the kid who had the Xbox in the neighborhood. So
did you guys always have
Halo at my house?
Did you guys have an N64? Who all had an N64?
You should have had me over, man.
Yeah, I should have.
Everybody.
I had one.
You had one, Dave?
64.
Yeah, I feel like everybody had an N64.
I remember I think it was just maybe my age. I was so easily excited about everything, but definitely video games, candy.
Yeah, you were a big candy eater.
The candy man, you know.
Yeah, what's changed?
So N64.
I remember the N64 commercials really like. I remember loving those. Yes, for the games, yes. Or yes. Video game advertisements. I remember they were like short, but they had a lot of the gameplay in it and whatnot.
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Like, what do you remember? Like,
well,
one of them?
we were young.
Yeah. Is he maybe talking about the DK rap?
Whoa, talk about.
Is that the DK rap?
Donkey Kong.
Oh yeah, yes, like Donkey Kong and stuff. I would
Was
go
that a
crazy.
commercial?
I would be thinking about that in school.
No,
Like
that was just in the game. But
Okay.
Yeah, that was just like the intro to the game.
if he shoots you.
Well, we
It's
kind of
gonna
grew up
hurt.
like what Ben's saying. We kind of like grew up in that heyday of like TV commercial video game marketing. I don't know if it's as popular anymore now. Honestly, I don't watch as much TV.
I don't know. I don't know
There's
either.
many.
I don't
I know
see
for
it
certain.
enough.
We watch a lot of YouTube. Do we see a lot of YouTube ads for video games?
More so than television, I'd say.
You think?
Definitely.
Yeah, I feel like only like the bigger, like the really big popular franchises are like televised ads, you know? Like you see Call of Duty ads, you see Battlefield ads.
Yes, that's what I was.
Big,
That's what I
big
was
I
thinking
think
of.
I think Destiny they had those ones out.
Yes,
when
yeah,
Destiny
yeah,
1 and
they
2
did.
were coming out. Yeah.
The first one for certain.
Mhm.
I remember
Well,
seeing those.
It kind of like followed suit. Wasn't that Bungie
Yeah, it was. Bungie.
that did that? You know, that
Yeah,
was their
I
thing,
guess that's
right?
just what they do.
They
yeah.
were so
That's
successful at it. You know, the marketing of Halo 3 campaign, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Tony Award. I mean,
Yeah, Tony really left its mark on our childhood.
they still have that
sure.
framed in the office. It's like a light shining down on it.
Uh-huh.
So what Wolf? What would you say is your favorite, or most? What was the? Let's go around and I think I already know Matt's answer. But what was the
Give it
video
away.
game advertisement that you were like, you were obsessed about it because the game that it was coming out for, but also the feeling that it gave you?
Yeah, my answer's already in, so I'll
Yeah.
sit out.
Halo 3.
I have a really hard time like pinpointing, especially like, when I was younger. You
Yeah,
know,
the
I know
memories, it's hard for me too.
I was definitely really excited about a lot of games. I know growing up, but the last one that really stuck with me, and honestly, it was a game I didn't even play. The Rome 2 Total War.
Yeah.
They did a live action trailer for it, and this came out after Shogun 2 and the original Shogun, and I was a big fan of the original Rome Total War game.
Yep, me too.
So I was totally hyped, and I don't think it was on TV or anything like that. All over YouTube though, live action. I was so fired up. It just gives you the chills. Like
Were
like
you in college or something? I just don't see you
Yeah.
passing that up if you were that excited. You must
It
have been in
was-
college or something, man.
Maybe. That was probably right around the time when it released, and the game was actually horrible from all the reviews I read. I didn't even end up buying it. But
Well, I'm surprised because the first, like you said, Total War Rome was dope. I loved it.
Yeah,
And that was one of the that really made me like that franchise.
I guess
And
yeah,
of course Shogun, when like I said, Shogun was before Rome, I think. Correct? Yes, the first
Yes.
Shogun. That one was old, really old.
And you would think that, I mean, the live action trailer was fantastic. They did a really good job with the acting in it, and
No,
essentially just like
that
three
Rome-
little scenes that they
That
kind
Rome
of play
trailer
out.
you sent, like, I've never seen a trailer that looked so real before.
Yeah.
It
was
looks like a
honestly real
movie.
life. Yeah, it was crazy.
I mean, I'm a little weeaboo sometimes. So the Shogun 2, the Shogun
Is that your
2,
pick?
what?
The Shogun 2?
Especially like the samurai culture, the honor, that. What did you just what?
Yeah, Wee Wee Ben.
I don't care. I love it, man. I love their culture. But you guys get me. I'm a weeaboo.
It's okay. It's okay. So Shogun 2, is that your pick?
No, that's not my pick, but that one's dope. No, probably Final Fantasy 11.
All right, so it's your pick.
I
Final
watched
Fantasy
that-
11.
I watched that probably a million times.
The opening cutscene for.
The one that's like 7, it's like the long ass one.
Where they talk about the crystal and.
Yes. Well, because that's exactly it. I had played all the Final Fantasies up to it, and like I love the crystal.
The Crystal
story.
Warrior kind of.
Yeah.
Big throwback to like the first, but
Yes.
at
Yes.
least
I
the
mean,
first two.
and it's the world of Vanadil is when that they brought the crystal idea back, and it's like where they get all their magic from, at least like the super powerful magic and stuff. And then the earlier ones, they like controlled like the weather or like, you know, with super powerful shit. But
evoking stuff, yeah. Vanadil being where.
But so I'd played all the turn-based RPGs before that, and when that came out, it was like they're gonna make a world where I can like interact with people and like still level up and get items and, you know, go through a storyline and everything, but I can interact with other people. It was like mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
I knew about EverQuest and Phantasy Star. I think both of those were before.
Big Final Fantasy fans, you know, to think that you could play a Final Fantasy game with your friends for the first time.
Yeah. And I think
that's an exciting.
It was super exciting. I mean, I remember my brother was like, he was like crying about it and stuff. He was a little baby.
The biggest obstacle I remember to playing that game was trying to convince my parents to let me use their credit card to buy time to play it. That was like a monthly uphill struggle. Like, why are we doing this? Like, why am I putting my credit card information into this thing?
And like at the time, it was like, why can't you understand?
Yeah.
But now when you look back, it's like, no, I probably would be doing that. And if you like put yourselves in their perspective, it's like, yeah, I'd be questioning the shit out of that.
Yeah, I'd be like, no fucking way.
Yeah.
Like, go outside.
People barely. I mean, the internet was around, but like your parents weren't using it back then, and they're like, I'm doing what on the internet? Giving who my credit card info? It's just crazy.
You can run around in a fake world and like cast spells and talk to Japanese people.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, what about you? What's your favorite campaign or ad?
Dave just left. David.
Oh, maybe he got up for a second.
Oh, using the restroom.
No, sorry, I'm here.
Eating a cheeseburger.
So Dave,
yeah, just like I stroked out there for a minute.
All right.
Oh, thank God we said something.
My favorite ad campaign, right?
Yeah.
Or just
favorite color
or anything. Yeah.
I like blue.
Pretty good.
Nice. Okay. Favorite ad campaign. Obviously, I'm a Warcraft guy, so I think you know where this is probably going.
Yeah, I had an intuition. It's probably gonna go here. Yeah.
Like the original World of Warcraft like cinematic trailer was really cool because it like started off. It showed like the map of like, you know, Kalimdor and Azeroth and everything, and then it like cuts to each race like in their natural habitat or their like, I don't want to say natural. It sounds like they're fucking like animals. But,
yeah.
But like in their like homeland, you know, their like the dwarfs are like in the snowy mountains, and then the night elves are in like the forests and all that.
Now
like,
I didn't remember that, but as you're explaining it, it's like really vividly coming back.
Yeah, and it like shows all of them in
the
their natural habitats,
and like the plains and shit.
Yeah, and then like then at the end like it shows them like fighting each other and shit, and then like it got you really jacked up for it. And then just like in general, like for WoW expansions and stuff, Blizzard is always really good at cinematics. So even like for BFA, like we went to BlizzCon and we were there.
Oh yeah.
Watched it for the first time live, and like it starts off and it's like, you know, the Lions are sieging Undercity, Lordaeron, and like kind of looks like the Horde's getting their ass kicked a little bit, you know, and then everybody's like, you know, low morale, and then Sylvanas comes down and like Banshee Queen shit and like fucking sucks the souls out of people, and everybody gets all jacked up on Mountain Dew and gets all hyped and like is ready to fight again.
Yeah.
But then the Lion starts getting crushed, and then like Anduin like goes like full fucking Jesus mode and like resurrects everybody, and then it's like, damn, that was intense.
Well, not to mention,
Blizzard makes those cinematics so action packed.
Oh yeah,
you know, it's just continuous.
Well, not to mention your boy Gan is a big part in that trailer too. So
no,
let's not forget.
Is he?
Oh yeah.
No, that's an expansion, not the original.
Yeah, not the original.
In BFA, yeah.
Oh, BFA. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm a Goomba.
Yeah, the original I think is more just like, I don't think it's really like named characters. It's just like
it's just
like showing the races.
Like, the races mostly.
Dwarf A, Night Elf B.
Well, one thing I was thinking about that, they have these cinematics that are really like beautiful, and obviously not going to be the graphics in the game.
Unfortunately.
So what about that? What do we think about that? That like it's kind of like really gets your expectations super high, and then you get in the game and it's something totally different. Like what do we do? But never mind, they're advertised as cinematics, so
I think as long as they're not advertised as like being games,
yeah.
I mean I'm fine with it.
Right.
But like there are a lot of games that like will show you footage and then like pretty sure Anthem like just released and like they had shown gameplay that like I think they had said like wouldn't be downgraded and like it's out right now. It's
like no.
It looks like crap.
Well, didn't that happen with Watch Dogs too, right?
Yeah.
The guy was walking around this.
Our boy Crobcat's always like making those.
Yeah.
So do you think they're you think that's just happenstance, or they're literally putting that in there to like manipulate the fucking
They did.
people?
I mean, there was
it's
literally
definitely
deactivated settings for the Watch Dogs one.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Had to tone it down. Yeah. It was just unfortunate.
Do you guys remember that another one of my favorites, that Gears of War one? And it was Gears of War 1. It was the first trailer that ever came out for it. And it was on.
I remember that.
I remember watching it, and it was for 360 as well. Maybe they did these big marketing campaigns for 360 because like these were the games that were like kind of flagshipping the console.
Yeah.
It's like where Marcus Phoenix is like getting up, and it's like the Gary Jules Mad World song.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my god! And he's like running through the streets and like dives through that window, and it's like.
I remember my buddy Marino. He wanted me to get Xbox 360 so bad because he was playing multiplayer games at that time on the 360, and I had I think I was just playing shit on the PS2 or PC at that point, and I remember he was like, he had me watch that like 30 times. I'm like, dude, I'm tired of watching this. He's like, look at this shit, man. I'm like, yeah, it's a cinematic for the like.
It showed off the Unreal Engine 4. It was like one of the first games to use it, I think, and it was like fucking awesome, like so awesome. It looks so good.
Which kind of like a funny aside, maybe not totally related. That just like advertising in general, I remember a good friend of mine actually had watched the commercial. I think it was a 360 game, Lost Odyssey. And you were saying that they played in the Gears of War one. They played like that, Mad World in it. I think they played, was it Jefferson Airplane in the cinematic, and my friend like loved the song. And
I vaguely remember that actually.
The cinematic looks like, the commercial looked awesome. Like the gameplay, like super, like crazy fast-paced stuff. And he like goes out, buys it immediately. It ends up being like this. It's like a slower turn-based like RPG
game. Yeah.
He was so pissed. It was like, absolutely nothing like what the commercials looked like.
It was on I think it was on 3 discs. It was like the longest game ever made by mankind.
It might have been a fine game, but it just totally blindsided. Probably.
Well, one thing that I'm thinking of here now is I don't think that games are advertised as much, because really they don't. In the past they kind of had to be more proactive about getting their name out for these, or getting their products out there and everything. And now it's kind of like the video game industry is here, so I think it's been toned down a lot. If anything, they may have like ads on websites that people frequent that are video game players, or Steam itself is an advertising tool. Yeah. So
I swear they advertise like through like journalists and like media companies.
Yes.
Like sometimes I read articles and it'll be like, and I'm not like accusing like journalists of like taking money for like advertisements for games or anything, but like I swear sometimes I read articles and it'll be like,
it'll be on the bottom.
it'll be like, oh, like BioWare's new Anthem, like 10 things like that you can't miss, blah blah, and like the game's not even out yet. Like damn well, like nobody like even wanted to write the article. Yeah. It's like the smallest fucking thing.
Right. So
it always seems like really suspect to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's just. I think that's a fact. Well, here we go again. With the perspective, we have a bubble perspective kind of. but none of us watch
Bubble
TV.
boy.
None of us watch TV. We're all bubble boys. We're in the bubble together, guys.
I don't watch much TV, but I don't think they really advertise there anyway because like I don't think any kids are watching TV either.
Yeah.
The last ones I really remember on TV, pretty sure Skyrim was on television.
Yeah.
The Skyrim. That was Skyrim.
That was
Well,
a
like
big
now,
one.
if you
But
think
that was
about it,
what the fuck was that? 2009 or something?
11.
Dragon Age Origins was
2011.
on there.
Yeah, 2011.
That's how I found out about
Yeah,
that.
Dragon Age Origins.
That was a great game. But
What are you saying, Dave?
I think now, especially for like console and stuff, like a lot of the games are just like advertised on your system. Like
There
when
you
you go to
go.
the Xbox
Yep.
store, like whenever you log in, it's like new game out. You know what I mean? Like it's right
Mhm.
there in front of your face. Because like a lot of people, it's not like I'm not sure how many people are like just buying an Xbox for the first time ever. You know, like I feel like
Yeah.
So
I mean maybe I'm wrong, but
So realistically here, I think the main advertising mechanisms for PC are, like Steam or strictly the internet. People who play PC games, they're always on the internet and whatnot. And like Dave said, for consoles, the advertising is integrated into their systems and everything. So they don't really there's not really a big need for large advertising, I don't think.
yeah.
I've never really thought
At
of
the
it.
scale that we experience,
I've never thought of it like as a need. Like, it's kind of weird because like a lot of the biggest marketing campaigns aren't needed by games. Like we mentioned, like Skyrim.
Yeah.
And like the Halo 3 Believe campaign, and even like the newer like the Battle for Azeroth, like that didn't need a big marketing campaign at all. I feel like it's more to just like get fans like hyped and like to get people to start talking about it again. And like
I agree with
I
that.
think it almost like also creates like a legacy. Like Halo 3 wouldn't be remembered as the game it is today if the Believe campaign like didn't occur, and you couldn't go back and like watch that montage of clips, right? It almost like solidifies it as
So
like legendary.
Yeah, so you're kind of saying it just comes from the passion of the creators and the video game companies that are, it's just something that they, it's like another outlet to express
like a homage. I think it's a homage to the fan base. It's like, hey, we know you guys love this.
Okay.
Like we know you guys love this, and like, yeah, it's gonna make us money, but like we're gonna make you something like really fucking sick.
Yeah.
And watch like 80 times. Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought of it like that. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's a cool.
So it's like a little
cool way
reward
to
for
think
us, right?
Yeah, a little treat for us.
Yeah, but it's kind of. I think
gets
it's
one.
Yeah.
kind of gone.
Oh, you know what we didn't mention that I thought they really nailed it well, just with representing like the gameplay and making it look like cinematically beautiful. Witcher 3 had an amazing E3 promo on it that like really highlighted, some of like the preparation before he like goes into battle with I don't even know what the heck you would call that lady that changes into a.
She goes like invisible and turns into like a vampire. Yeah.
Yeah, and he uses like the silver grenade or whatever, and like splashes so you can see her and things like that.
Well, I mean, that game is just beautiful. You could just fucking. I mean, if it's when that game was coming out, like just show some gameplay. That game was beautiful, man. The music, everything.
Yeah.
That game was point on.
And like you just said, E3, like that's a big place for advertisement too, right?
There you go.
The big gaming events, like those kind of, you know what I mean? That's
And
where
then
like
and then those
first hear about it,
the
and then-
videos just get uploaded.
That's true, dude.
yeah, right. You said E3, and it kind of like the brain was like,
And BlizzCon, the new mobile Diablo. And
It's gonna sell itself.
that
They
made
didn't even need
waves.
to announce it.
yeah.
PAX. Don't forget PAX.
Yeah, PAX too. Yeah, I mean, there's
just
so many
like,
conventions.
the big, there's so many big conventions and stuff like where things get announced for the first time, and like that's kind of where the train starts, and then like people like start YouTube or all that kind of stuff to watch trailers and everything.
Yep.
It's not
through
through like the TV as much.
Yeah, but I think gamers are just in general, like obviously really most of them, or not most of them, a fair amount of them are really tech savvy. And if they want to seek something out, YouTube, Google, you know what I mean? So it's like it's a couple clicks away. What was I gonna say? Didn't League of Legends have a crazy?
Yeah, they have a lot of videos.
They do have a lot of like promotional videos.
Videos.
Don't remember.
An initial one? I don't know. I remember like a Katarina jumping around and shit, man.
I don't know if it was initial, but they did have some earlier ones with like Cat and Ari and like Rise is in one, I think.
Rise, yeah.
Twisted Fate's in one.
Uncle Rise. Whoa.
Yeah, Uncle Rise.
I don't know, guys. I think they might have. Maybe it was like, before beta was gonna be shut down and everything, they threw like a really big one together, because I remember something like that made me really want to play the game. Too bad my memory is garbage.
It's just so many games, man. How can you expect it to remember?
I mean, they do. I mean, I do like their we've talked about Riot's advertising before.
It's good.
Their marketing campaign, even just specifically talking about the videos, I think is very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
The most recent one was fantastic. What was it?
Yeah, it was good. Aurelia's face kind of looks terrible. I don't know but everything else is pretty good.
Karma, they look a little too real. I want them to be
like that's a game where exactly. That's a game where the characters definitely need to be more animated. That's just
they shouldn't look like they can actually bleed or anything. I don't want to see that. That's too much.
I want to see them bleed. That's
fragile.
I want to see them die. I want to see their limbs blown off.
Do you remember? This was I have to bring this one up before we move on because I love this one too. This was for actual just like PlayStation and Sony. This wasn't like for a game, but it was that one. It was like the Long Live Play. For Michael. And I love that commercial. It's like those soldiers walk into the bar and like all the all the main characters are in there. It's like Kratos, Nathan Drake, Solid Snake, like
the guy from Infamous.
Ezio Auditore. Yeah, and they're all like talking about like how like they were like in like their like deepest, darkest moments like in their lives, and all of a sudden like the player Michael like came and like saved them, and they're all like shooting his name. It's the best.
So, like the bartender, I don't remember that, but
it sounds like a really
have
cool
a toast for him, like for Michael.
And then
like looks up.
They hold up his picture and then they frame it like up on the wall. It's unbelievable.
That's a cool concept to get the player pumped up, but at the same time, I kind of think that's a little cheesy too.
No, it's not. I don't think it is very cheesy. I think it's good.
When you see Solid Snake from what is it, from 4? Was it Guns of the Patriot?
I think it is 4. Yeah.
And
when he's old as shit.
He's old. The guy does the voice perfect. I don't know if it's the same actor or whatever. And he finishes what he's saying, and then someone else starts to talk, and he like kind of gets uncomfortable and leans against the wall, and his
blends into the wall.
His camo like goes off, and he like hides.
Ezio comes out. Ezio comes out. He's like, "When the Templars murdered my family." He's like, "Michael is there." It's unbelievable. It's so good.
They must have done it well, because I'm just thinking in my head like, these guys are fucking cheese balls, man.
Oh, it's good. You have to watch it.
No.
It's very well made.
But yeah.
And just the original Assassin's Creed, like, do you remember that like video? He's like walking through the crowds and like that. I think that guy's like being hung.
I do remember that.
He's got the hidden blades. It's like the first time you ever see the blades, right? Like what a selling point for a game. It was so cool to see. And he's like, he like kills the guy. He might even like I forget like exactly what happens, but I know he like runs away and like climbs up on all the roofs and stuff and gets out. It's so cool.
Haystack or something.
Yeah, I think he does do a haystack.
He haystacks it.
He goes.
One that really got me fired up, Assassin's Creed: The Brotherhood.
Oh
trailer. When I didn't even play the games, and I was like, oh, I gotta get that. And he's walking through the crowd, like you were very similar, and I think he's going to like confront, some head guy, and I think maybe the Pope or somebody sitting in the carriage with him. And as he's walking up, he stabs a few people, and then all of a sudden, like arrows are flying in and hitting other guys, and you're like, wait a second, like he's not alone this time. What's happening here?
Yeah, it's Michael.
Yeah, Michael. Yeah.
The Brotherhood was the multiplayer one, huh?
Brotherhood?
Was that what you can control multiple assassins or something?
You had like groups.
You had
like
a group
of assassins.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. It was like John Wick.
That assisted you and shit.
Yeah, right. It was like John Wick.
Now I remember it. I never played that. Josh, my brother, really liked that one. But yeah.
Is there another one on here? The Assassin's Creed Revelations.
Oh yeah, well, like all of the Assassin's Creed ones.
Yeah, they had really good marketing too.
Do you guys remember the Remember Reach one for Halo that came out? It was like
yeah.
the guys like running and like slow motion, almost like carrying that bomb into that big ship.
Yeah, I just want to watch
And it blows up at the end. Do you remember that? That's a great one too.
That was a fantastic game too.
Yeah, Reach was great.
It really felt like a Halo game.
Was that
Made you
after?
feel like Halo.
Was that after 3?
Yeah, it was the last Bungie game.
You Xbox, little Xboxers. Didn't they come out with like a Halo like tactical game?
They
They had
did.
Halo Wars. Is that what you're talking about?
It was like a not turn-based, but it was like a grid-based.
Yeah,
like,
Halo
RTS almost. Yeah.
Yeah.
People like that game, I think. I never really got into it, but I'm pretty sure it was like well received. I'm not positive. Yeah, I mean, don't quote me on that. I didn't like look at the scores, but I like remember people talking about it like it was pretty good. I don't know.
It looked good. How about the epitome of like all gaming? You know, every game that people try to refer, every new game that comes out, people try to refer back to the OG Dark Souls.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
I really liked. I didn't play Dark Souls off the bat, and I really like their.
That was a TV
cinematic.
commercial, I believe, wasn't it? The trailer.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, well, Dark Souls. What year is that?
That was 2011.
2011. 2011 was a good year, huh?
It's a great year, yeah.
It's a great game. That's what Bartholomew. That song.
Yeah, it's a great trailer.
Oh, it just fit so well with the entire dark theme of the game. Don't they even say something about
They probably
starting a
don't.
fire or something like the
Sure
bonfire
they-
kind of?
Light a fire on the wolf's ass to buy
Yeah.
this game.
Yeah. I never ran so fast to the store, but that they really back then they really did get you fired up to go out there and.
Yeah, certainly,
Oh.
especially when you were. It was the idea of going and buying the copy at the store. Now that I'm thinking about it, they did have to, or getting. Well, I should say getting our parents to take us to go.
Well, not when Dark Souls, but yeah,
Yeah.
a long time ago. But yeah, that was, and I think you still see that a lot too with even just like release dates. People still try to push for that holiday.
Yeah,
Holiday
for sure.
sale, just because there's still a lot of kids that aren't driving to the game store, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. Put it on your wish list, which is unfortunate in this climate. I'm sure we'll get it. I want to get into that maybe a little bit later with release dates and things like that. We got a lot coming down the pipe.
I remember doing whenever Halo 3 ODST came out, which I really didn't love that game, but like waiting until midnight to buy that, and then I did that. I did the speech like the next day, like I did a PowerPoint on pulling an all-nighter. I got like an A on it. It was the best work I ever did in school.
So Halo gets you good grades.
Mhm.
Dave, are you back?
I don't know if Dave is back.
I wanted
Dude,
I wanted to jump into trending, but I want to wait.
don't go to the tax. We got to hold off on it. Maybe
yeah,
let's get into some Battlefield.
No, we can just wait for him and just talk about games. I mean, it's no big deal. No,
Um,
I really want to start with tax because it's perfect.
It's
Yeah.
too good. It's
Needs
too
to
good to.
It
get
needs.
rolling on that.
It's too good and too shit.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves though.
Well.
What other? Well, we've been talking a lot about like Total War games. We mentioned like the
The
show.
Warhammer cinematics for those games. I don't know if you guys ever watched any of those. They're fucking sick. And the gameplay ones where they show you like the different troops and stuff that you can get and the different monsters and stuff. Those always got me pumped up to play those games. I haven't played Warhammer 2. I know Wolf. I know you.
I actually just purchased that today.
You're
Warhammer
kidding me.
2, yeah. Those you're right. Those cinematics of the game, they're beautiful. Total War in general has done just
Wolf,
a
we
really
need to get
good
into
job.
that, bro.
I don't know if I want to get into like a full game review of it, but I was a little disappointed when I purchased that game today, and this is not a new game. It's been out for a while now.
Oh, what, Warhammer 2?
Yeah, that
They have so many expansions.
well, there's a lot of expansions, which is fine. I'm okay with expansions, but I only have one campaign available to me, and it notifies me every time I launch the game that since I don't have the first Warhammer, I don't have like access to any of the
I know.
DLC campaigns and
that's
DLC
how I am.
content.
That's I'm in the same boat with you.
I don't want to buy the first game. I thought I was doing myself a favor by
getting
skipping
the
first
one. It is kind of discouraging. They really do. These Total War Warhammer, they have a huge fan base, and they have a loyal fan base who are going to buy. Yeah. Yes, they're going to buy everything. So like they don't really give a shit. They're like, we got our boys. They're gonna buy everything, and they're gonna start talking to their friends to get it and shit.
I don't know much about like the Warhammer lore or anything like that, but just from scouting them out on Steam, that is a big time like cash grabby kind of.
Oh, it is so bad. There's
so much DLC, and their games are always the most expensive out of anything else I see.
Yep. I will say there's a lot of content in the expansions that they have. I mean, with those Total War games, you can just you can play those games for hours, and it expands the world and everything when they do it. But I agree with you.
I spent $60 on this game, and I feel like I bought like a third of a game. Is what I feel like I got.
Oh, that was I know, Matt, you just said that was your experience, and McNeil was like, and McNeil spends a lot of money on games. He doesn't really give a shit, but he even mentioned it. He was like, yeah, it kind of pissed me off that I bought Warhammer 2, and then like 2 days later,
I'll be honest, I never played it again. Like I played it the first day, and I was just pissed. I never even logged back in. I think I uninstalled
It's a great
it
game.
that day.
You got to get into it though, Matt. I think you'd really like it.
I'm not sure if it's as good as the older ones. I played for about 2 hours, and then the game crashed, and just randomly, I wasn't even like in a battle or anything, and I was looking on forums, etc. It looks like there's all kinds of. Maybe it doesn't happen to everybody, but it is a prevalent issue, I should say. And there's so many ways to fix it. I was just like, I really spent this much money. I'm gonna have this kind of issue on a game that's been out for this many months. Really a big letdown.
Yeah. It's one of those things, man. If you want to play that game, you're paying a lot of money. If you want to get the full experience of that game, you're paying a lot of money. Mm-hmm. But Dave, you're back.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just in.
Well, let's get to the tax. Let's get to the taxes.
Whoa.
All right.
So lay it on us, man. Lay it on the people. Lay it on the people.
Yeah.
So Pennsylvania, our great state that we're so blessed to live in, has proposed a 10% violent video game tax. Similar tax was also proposed, I believe, back like when the Sandy Hook shooting happened. I forget what state that was, maybe like Connecticut. Actually, I think it was Connecticut. But it never actually ended up passing. But this is like a similar bill to that one, and it's not passed yet. But the gist of it is going to be that this is going to be on top of sales tax. So a $60 game would essentially be $70, with 6% sales tax and then 10% violent video game tax. This violent video game tax would be on all mature rated games, which is a lot of games.
Yep.
It's like almost like all games, at least that we play these days. So proceeds from this tax would go into the Digital Protection for School Safety account. What this aims to do is to enhance security measures at schools to prevent shootings. The Entertainment Software Association has taken a hard stance against this bill. I think there's a lot to say here. I think like we would be personally affected by this just due to living in PA. So I think that we kind of have like an extra little edge here that we could kind of, I think, be a little bit pissed off about, like it being proposed. But I think anybody that plays games and plays mature games like knows that these have nothing to do with school shootings. It's ridiculous to even propose something like this is just completely asinine. From my perspective, I do not support it at all. But Dave, why don't you start us off and let's get into it?
Okay. So, I mean, in general, it's just, I think it's just bullshit to like single out like video games and saying like this is like with actually like no studies proving that that's like the problem. Like I'm pretty sure there's no empirical evidence that says like if you play violent video games, like you're going to go shoot up a school or something. Like I think that is just kind of like ridiculous. And then to like expand on that further, so like okay, you're going to charge a 10% tax on violent video games, right? Why aren't you charging 10% tax on any other violent media like movies or whatever? Like why are you singling out video games?
Well, don't give them any ideas, Dave.
Well, I mean,
well, first of all, Hollywood and politics they're involved with each other in my opinion, so that's why for the movies.
Oh, you don't think they want to?
No, they don't want to mess with their friends.
Oh.
Okay. Right, they don't want to tax their friends. The people who support them and get just think about the whole Hollywood thing with how they support candidates and stuff and go to their rallies and speak and you know how all that goes. And it's on both sides, mostly on one side, but it's on both sides.
But yeah, like so that's inherently fucked up in itself. Like you're not gonna target other violent things, but just one specific thing, which all you're doing is hurting the consumer, right?
Yeah.
Right. I agree.
The consumer bears that burden. No one else does. And then like, what are they going to actually use the money for? What is that money going to actually do? It's not going to fucking do anything. It's not going to change anything. It's not going to help anything.
Right.
It's not even going to go to the fund they want it to go to.
That's the biggest thing I'm worried about too. That if you want to support school safety, then by all means give your money to support that directly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the idea of expecting this money to go to the government and then go towards.
Well, I think the thing that we're missing here, everyone, is that like we already are taxed for public schools and everything. So like, I mean,
on top of it.
Yeah. So like, it's like they need more for the security, I suppose. I think it's just a grab. It's just all these taxes are just a grab at more of the from middle wage. Or middle class to upper middle class. Like that's where the money grab is for like these kind of taxes. It doesn't hurt anybody who's super rich, and it doesn't hurt anybody who's super poor because they're not fucking buying video games. At the rate that the people in the other category are buying them. So,
well, why tax them? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Like if you don't want kids playing mature violent video games, like fine, like I get it, like I don't want an 8-year-old kid like playing like the goriest game of all time. Like it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, but I mean, like if his parents buy it for him, then he can play whatever he wants. But like well, why aren't we holding parents accountable? Well, like why are we holding like every consumer of video games accountable now for like actions of people that have nothing to do with video games anyway? It just doesn't add up, I don't think, no matter like any way you look at it.
Yeah, you're right. Like, what does the 20-something-year-old guy that buys a mature-rated video game have anything to do with why schools may or may not be unsafe? Right? I mean, what are they trying to...
It's more about, like, the intense psychology, psychology problems that we have in this country. And it's like, what they do is they pick out children who have had these problems, and they say like, oh, they play video games, and it's like, well, that's not the root of the problem. You know what I mean? Like their psychology was the root of the problem. The video games weren't the root of the intense maybe psychological, problems. We have to. It's more rather than taxing and hurting consumers. Like we should put more emphasis on like trying to figure out how to figure out the intense anxiety, stress, depression issues that we have in this country. Like it just doesn't make sense to me. Like that's where it should be going to. If they're going to tax this like for the protection of let's school safety account or whatever, it's like put the money into like treating children in a way that's not pumping drugs into them and everything.
Yeah, or start like a nonprofit in the private sector and just let people donate to it.
Yeah, like exactly.
Maybe like something will actually happen.
Right. Let the free market and people's choice, well,
this,
generate the money.
Like Matt said, like with the this isn't the first time this has happened. And why do they think that it's okay to target this specific demographic of consumer, and they keep doing it? I mean, this has been going on for probably like 20 some odd years, that all this pushback against violent video games and how it's kind of like manipulating
it's
youth.
Probably because there's no video game lobbyists. That's why. It's like the video game industry is relatively new. Like,
let's form a coalition. What do we do?
I mean, that honestly, that was a good point.
There's no
video game they know, like they keep poking at it. I mean, when the Columbine shit happened, and that was totally blown out of proportion. The Columbine kids, that they had played a video game that had supposedly inspired them. And not only that, but there was a video game that was made after Columbine that was like what they did.
Didn't this happen with Slender Man too? Didn't those girls like act it out in some European country?
I'm not sure about the details of that, but
I'm just weird stuff like that. Maybe games are bad. Maybe we should just.
No, I mean, anything can be bad, man.
Everything in moderation, right?
Right. I mean, they feed us, they put and advertise garbage food that's killing people and it's making us disease ridden, and like, where's the tax on the fucking sugar on all the candy bars that Matt's eating all the time?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I already said it, but the ends just don't justify the means here for me. I just don't. I don't understand what a 10% tax does on mature-rated video games. Anybody that wants to get them anyway, like, it's not going to deter people from playing it. The government's not going to use the money the way it should be anyway. Like, there's just no gain from this. I don't see this passing. Like I said, there were similar bills that didn't pass before. It's not going to happen. I mean, we'll wait and see. I mean, obviously, there's going to be a verdict on it sometime. I don't know when that is. And hopefully, like, we'll be able to read the article and talk about this again. But optimistic that it just does not pass, and we can keep buying games with just sales tax on.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope for you.
Which is bad enough.
I moved to North Carolina.
Yeah, well, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I know I like actively avoid additional like sales tax and taxes when I can. And I know for a long time, like
the days of that
are numbered, unfortunately.
Are nearing, because all the states and everything are like really cracking down on collecting sales tax, and like there are like huge penalties for companies that don't charge it.
I know.
Adam, I think are you getting a phone call right now? Because I think it might be the IRS.
Yeah. I mean, all right. So to clarify, like a few years ago, Newegg in particular, they didn't. All that amount, they did not charge the sales tax for PA. They recently started doing that. I believe the past like year and a half here. Mm-hmm. So you can use other web retailers that if they don't have like a physical store location, in most cases in your state, they still don't charge you the sales tax for items you purchase from them, and that really adds up. That 6%, and I wouldn't be surprised if with an additional 10% on top of that people don't, if this were to pass, look for other avenues to try and
get games elsewhere. Right. Yeah, they're not going to stop playing them. They're just going to stop buying them from you. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
It's unfortunate. Just another tool being implemented in order to take money away from people.
My money.
Big government.
Take my money.
Yeah, I think this is.
We don't want your safety school account.
I think this is wrapped up in the Green New Deal. But anyway, let's move back to the next article. So Battlefield 5 did not meet sales expectations, and I think that like people were kind of predicting this whenever it came out, but I digress. So it had 7.3 million copies sold, which was 1 million short of what EA had expected for the game. So first question I have here. So it's $60 per sale of the game. That's $438 million in gross. 5. So just how much money does a game need to generate to be successful? Because $438 million should be enough to make a game profitable. I mean, I just don't understand what those costs could be. You could develop a game for like 10 years and it still would be fine for $438 million.
Yeah.
Those costs just do not add up. And the marketing campaign, to tie it into the front end of this conversation, I didn't even see it. It was non-existent. And on the second part of this topic is, do the shortcomings of this game have anything to do with, EA's kind of saying, if you don't like the game, don't buy it. If you don't like the female World War II soldiers being advertised, don't buy it. I think it's kind of connected a little bit. I mean, maybe not. EA's kind of pointing to the fact that the Battle Royale section of the game was not finished and released yet. And that's why the game did not succeed, which I'm sure that there's some truth to that as well. But what are you guys' thoughts on this?
First, let me jump in here. First, I want to ask: is that historically correct? Was there? I'm kind of sad that I don't know this because I consider myself a history buff to a degree. But World War II, they occupied other positions. They certainly weren't frontline soldiers for damn sure.
I think if they were there, it was very few and far between, right? At least, especially like in America.
I think at that juncture, it was deterred to the highest degree for a woman to be in combat.
I think
it's in movies. But Pearl Harbor, they're all nurses. You don't see any fighting in any of the movies or whatever, and that's. I'm not saying that's. I'm just saying historical. The Battlefield is a historical. They make historical video games,
Well, they used to. I don't know if they.
It's how they've had success in the past, yeah.
Yes, in the past, and I don't think that's historically correct. So I mean, it's just a contradiction.
I think I want to say that I remember there being just this huge backlash with the women being in the trailer fighting, and then like the people with like the prosthetic like limbs like fighting in the war.
I think it might have been like even one and the same. I think like the main character like in the trailer was like a woman with a prosthetic limb.
Yeah.
It was like a double dose of unreality.
I want to say that they cited like a couple like very specific instances where like maybe women did fight in the war.
Okay.
But I don't.
I'll take that.
I don't think it was nearly as prevalent as the way that the game made it look.
No.
Like 50-50 or something.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty obvious and apparent to probably anybody that has any familiarity with World War II. But this battle royale, this is kind of the point I want to not being released, with the initial release of the game. The entire release schedule for Battlefield 5 is really strange. They essentially just didn't finish the game and pushed it out during like the Christmas, holiday sales season, and then they had this already planned out roadmap for literally from January, I believe, till March, where they're introducing like a co-op campaign or co-op missions that you can do, and then an additional like single player campaign like 2 to 3 to 4 months down the road, and then they're going to cap it off with this battle royale extra content like in March.
Yeah.
It just seems really strange, but it really kind of reflects the climate. The games are expected to release in a ridiculously fast pace, and whether it's finished or not, we're going to get it out there.
What Battlefield 4? Was that that was that was World War II too, or was that World War One?
I want to say one.
Okay.
But let's see here.
Yes, there was horses. It was World War One.
Well, Ben, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, were horses.
Horses were around during World War II.
Well, no, but they were. There was jeeps and other vehicles and stuff.
I think the main horse had like a peg leg.
Like I said, guys, the history buff here. Yeah, and there was more. There was more action in. They had a lot of action in the the Africa theater. And,
well, what do you think about the $438 million revenue number?
I don't know what it costs to develop a game like this.
It doesn't cost $438 million. I can tell you that right now.
Of course not. No.
So like I just don't. I don't know. And Dave, maybe you can chime in here, just being like in a financial background as well. But like it just And obviously they have certain profit margins that are in the budget that they want to hit, but like, I to say that like didn't meet sales expectations, like this was like a really bad release. I mean, 7.3 million copies and $438 million. I'd be pretty happy with that. I mean, it doesn't sound horrible to me.
So what I can see. Oh, I'm sorry, Dave. Go ahead.
No, I mean that's just seems reasonable.
Like let's take a guess at Battlefield.
It's hard.
Well, I'll tell you.
Graphics.
Okay, what was it?
I'll tell you, Ben.
Go ahead.
For Battlefield 4, so this would probably be a pretty good comparison. We're looking at $108 million
Budget?
total cost with marketing and development of the game.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
And the highest ever, Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty, $292 million.
Holy shit.
But
Great game.
$200 million of it was marketing.
Oh wow. Okay.
So
200 million of it was marketing.
Yeah.
They're making times back revenue. I mean, it's pretty good. It's pretty damn good. 300 million off the top.
I don't understand.
They probably have a lot of other costs, just throughout the year and just.
Yeah, I mean, they have operating costs.
Servers, maintaining servers and shit.
No, listen, I understand. I mean, like I make budgets for a living. It's like what I do for companies, but like it just doesn't. I mean, just to say that it's like a disappointment.
Yeah. No,
like,
yeah. I'm with you 100%.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, this is one of their biggest. This is one of their biggest sellers. Battlefield.
Yep, it is. It definitely is.
This is probably one of those ones that, you might have had with,
that's true.
EA's other, or I'm sorry, it was just, I don't know, EA, yeah, it is EA. Any of their other games that they might have taken some losses for.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it was their big hitter, they probably shouldn't have told people to not buy it.
Yeah.
You would think.
But, other like bad industry news. Well, I don't know, bad or good, whichever you look at it. Probably bad. You never like to see people get fired, but about 800 employees were laid off by Activision-Blizzard today. 8% of its total staff. These were mainly non-game development jobs. So it was like marketing, publishing, esports, etc. The CEO came out and said they're going to be focusing on bolstering development teams for and Destiny as well, since Activision just lost that, or not lost, but they split with Bungie. But we're gonna be focusing on bolstering development teams for Diablo and Call of Duty moving forward. And this was kind of separate, but I kind of lumped this together because I thought they were, very similar. During their most recent earnings call, Blizzard stated that no new main titles are going to be released in 2019. And they also mentioned that this was their best financial year to date, which kind of contradicted the firings. Yeah. So, what do you guys think here?
I don't like any news that I hear from Blizzard. Like, I mean, I know it's Activision Blizzard now, but I think they're eventually just gonna shit the bed totally, man.
It does seem like it's just always
bad
news we've been hearing since BlizzCon.
They said they had their best financial year to date.
Yeah, I know.
That is true.
And they did.
It's true. Yeah.
It is 100% accurate.
Where?
A lot of games, man.
Overwatch is really big.
Overwatch
BFA came out.
BFA came out. Call of Duty.
Black Ops.
Call of Duty. Yeah, we still got little kids running around screaming and stuff. Yeah, we do that.
I'm sure the WoW monthly subscriptions bring in good revenue.
I mean, they're definitely down from the launch.
Well, actually, Final Fantasy XIV has more. It's the first time that Final Fantasy XIV has passed World of Warcraft and people actively playing the game.
Was that due to this free thing that's happening right now that I just mentioned?
Potentially.
Probably.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah.
They're definitely tied together.
Yeah.
It seems to me like they're just kind of like regrouping and refocusing as a company. Like that's like kind of what I got out of this. They had a really good year. I don't think it met expectations. They probably only made $438 million and we're really sad about it. Like, but yeah, oh damn. But I don't know. It kind of seems like there with no new games rehire, and refocus into either like a new title for like a franchise that they have already made games for, or like into something completely new.
Yeah, and like
which
I agree.
is probably smart. Yeah.
And with with the way the video game market is right now, it's getting more and more competitive, right?
Yep.
So like you don't have the luxury of just like having jobs that aren't as like necessary to the production of the games. So that's kind of what they're doing, you know, because now they have a little bit, then that frees up some money to like do other things and develop the games more. Because you can't like you're just with the way the market is right now, paying people to do everything, especially like non-vital tasks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they probably got rid of some front desk people and some call center.
So, so like what I actually wasn't even gonna bring this up, but I'm gonna bring it up just because it was kind of bothering me. Like, pretty much every stories, like just from like normal people and users, is mentioning that the CEOs and CFOs of Blizzard are making like $15 million a year and $20 million a year, but like they're gonna fire their employees, like and it's. And listen, I get it, and like I don't want to make like a huge comment about it, but like that's not the reason they're letting people go is because they pay the CFO $15 million. It's just because like they're not needed anymore. And unfortunately, like whenever you work for a company and you have a skill and you use that skill to make money from a company, like if they don't want you anymore, like they're just gonna get rid of you.
Yep.
Like unfortunately, like that's
the name of
do that, and it sucks. And I'm not saying that it's right, but like. To blame like a CEO for making $20 million like on these firings, I think it's unrelated. I don't think it's helpful to the conversation at all.
It really is.
No, I agree with you. I mean, people have to work to get into those positions. I mean, it's not like somebody was born into the fucking CEO of.
Just to follow up on like the earnings thing and everything today too. And the firings or layoffs, however you want to say that. They also said that while they're, like cutting people and laying people off, they're refocusing some other people to like focus more on their like primary titles like Warcraft and Overwatch and Hearthstone, which is good because like those are obviously their best games, and like if they have more development power on those games, like that's probably a good thing as far as like you already know these games are good and now they can make them even better because they're putting more resources to them.
I agree. I totally agree. I guess like I don't know. I like it's very easy to look at a company and know nothing about the company and just look and say like, oh well, this guy makes $20 million and this person only made $60,000 and they fired them.
It's people who don't know
anything about anything. Like you're just making a comment.
I'll tell you what it is, Matt. It's people who are jealous. There's a type of person who gets very jealous over rich and famous people.
I'd say it's a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, it is. I bet you if you ran some polls, man, like there's a lot of jealous fucking people out there, man. And it's much better to be more, nuanced in your thinking rather than just letting jealousy or envy, dictate how you're gonna think about these kind of things.
Yeah, those dollar amounts, those aren't.
Well, and you have to keep in mind too, like the CEO is taking way more of a risk doing their job. Like, you know what I mean? If like the financials get fucked up or something, like they can get sued and like go to jail and shit. Like they're taking way more. Like you're compensated for the risk you take and like the value.
Does something shitty, whose name is on it? The CEOs. It's not like the John Everyman down.
And I mean, dude, let's be serious here. If Blizzard like my prediction, if Blizzard really is going downhill, who's gonna eventually be fucked? The CEO. Like he's gonna lose his job if things go bad. So it's all relative,
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to bring it up because I think that anybody who listens to this, I think the majority of people are going to be really mad at probably primarily myself, but and us just for saying those things. But I genuinely feel that way. I just don't think it's helpful. I don't think it does anything for the conversation.
I will say there is something, and this is just in general. It doesn't really have to do with video games. There is something said about a company that will part with someone and treat their employees with respect and stuff. Like if you part with someone, you
for sure
maybe give them a bonus.
I think
I don't know if that'd be a bonus.
They all got severance packages. They all get paid.
Yeah.
Like salary for a few weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
They get like
that's the
helping
way
them with like recruitment tools and everything.
That's what I would say. That's what I would say. If when people put their time, we only have, as humans, we only have so much time on this earth. Like when people put their time and energy into something, and you benefit from it, like most people are saying these CEOs really benefit from it and stuff. Like it does show some character and some merit when you
I agree. Take care of the little guy. I definitely. Things go south a little bit.
So I'm happy to hear that. I'm really happy to hear that, Dave. That's cool.
Yeah. So it's they're not just like leaving them out in the. You know what I mean? Like that's like pretty. Like I mean, the employees definitely deserve it. Yeah, like the employees definitely deserve it for like what they've done for the company and everything. But like it's, you know what I mean? They're not like Blizzard's not just like fuck you.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Like, well, not like they did to like the pro players in HOTS.
I mean, like, I guess, like, and on like the other side of that, like what is Blizzard supposed to do? Like, if they have 800 positions that like aren't gonna do anything moving forward with like a new strategy, like, what did people expect them to do? Just like keep the people around?
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's not good for the players either. Like, let the people move on as well. Like, they can go into a company where they can like really thrive.
Yeah.
It's probably best for everyone. But anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, this was just a small note, and Ben, you kind of just mentioned it, but Final Fantasy XIV is free on Twitch Prime until May 3rd, which I thought was really cool. It's a game that I've always thought about trying, and we like 11 so much. You get the base game with a level cap of 50 and a month subscription for free. I think it's a great opportunity to try out the game, and apparently so does everybody else if they just passed WoW subscriptions for the first time.
Exactly.
Seems like everybody's
I'll give my thoughts on Final Fantasy XIV. I liked it. I thought it was a good game. I think that we'll have to have a podcast. We'll have to get you guys playing some Final Fantasy games and have a good podcast conversation about Final Fantasy. But
I would just do a live podcast when I'm fishing off the docks of Selbina.
There we go. There you go. But so with this game, I was really pumped about it. I know Wolf was really pumped about it, and I did enjoy it. I think that they made a mold of they took things from other MMOs and they mimicked it. And they really, from my observations and everything and me experiencing it and playing the game, they really took everything that Final Fantasy was about, like the little things in other Final Fantasy games. Like in Final Fantasy VI, there's this, it's a Magica mech, and they added like a mount from that into it. So it seemed like a little bit disingenuous that they're like pulling all these things from these great, in my mind, these great like historical games that in this franchise, and they kind of just made like it just kind of seemed a little bit half-assed, and other people really loved it, and they thought the world was great and everything, but I think that they just took the concept of Final Fantasy and kind of like made, like I said, mimicked from other MMOs and just made this thing that I wasn't happy with as a Final Fantasy fan. As an MMO fan, I thought it was a good game, and that's why I played it. I did some raiding and whatnot, but definitely think that they fell short with really getting that Final Fantasy feel to it. And what they should have fucking done was made a fucking clone of Final Fantasy XI, and it would have outsold the shit out of it, and people would be playing that. It would be killing World of Warcraft right now.
I think that's a really
I'm serious.
A really fair assessment of the game, Ben. That's it really felt like a WoW clone, and like so many other MMOs, and really did not play like any other Final Fantasy game, and didn't play like Final Fantasy XI. It was that game really stood apart from the others. And other MMO well, and they really didn't do anything well enough or different enough. Like you said, it was just kind of like a patchwork of Final Fantasy like themed and reference things, but didn't really fit as like a cohesive game and something that you could really felt like you wanted to invest your time into, which was unfortunate for it.
Yeah, like, but people aren't going to be re-upping on the monthly sub.
It was a good game, and let me tell you, I did hear really, really good things enough after me and Wolf had left the game. it that they were really working towards getting that genuine Final Fantasy feel with the expansions. And
how's the music then?
The music's pretty good. I think it's
not nearly as memorable as other Final Fantasy games.
It was good though. It was
of quality of a Final.
I don't know. I don't know if that was Nobu. What the hell is his name? Nobu. Fuck. I want to say Nobu Dogga.
Yeah, I know you were
gonna. Whatever. The composer that's done the Final Fantasy franchise. I don't know if that was him. I think if it was anything, it was a collaboration with him. But he's the bomb, dude. Go listen to some of his shit and just be taken to a different world. Uematsu, yep, Uematsu. He's a bomb. He goes. I think he only collaborates now because he goes around the world with a orchestra and does all the like original Final Fantasy. So he's too busy to do it on his own.
They were actually in Pittsburgh not too long ago.
You're kidding me.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Whew.
Wow.
What do you call that?
Information that would have been helpful a little while ago.
I would have. I seriously, that's like I would have loved to see here.
Well, hey, let's jump down into some of these new game releases. We touched on these last week a little bit, like right before they were released, or like Resident Evil 2 was like just releasing, and I think that Apex Legends had come out like that day. And these are like the biggest titles that I've seen, like being talked about. So, these games are kind of out now. I just wanted to like we've played Apex Legends now, and I've played Resident Evil 2. I still haven't played Kingdom Hearts 3, unfortunately, but let's just talk about Apex Legends. It's like the biggest game right now for the last week.
Let's hear it.
Over the first weekend, after the first week, it hit 25 million new players and 2 million concurrent players, which that's a really big deal. That's a ton of players.
Yeah.
It seems like people have been really enjoying it. It does things a little bit differently from other battle royales, and the one thing I will say is it feels a lot better to play. Just like it's very smooth. The UI is great. I'm not like always stumbling around like trying to figure out like what attachments I have for my guns and stuff like I'm on PUBG and like never knowing what's going on. You can be revived by your teammates if you die, which is great. It's such a nice feature. Even though we usually just get wiped. And then you can also just like ping an item and it'll like show your team exactly where it is and what it is, like as a marker. So you're not like again like wandering around like stumbling through the darkness like trying to find what your teammate's talking about. But Adam and I played. Adam, what were your thoughts?
Honestly, comparing it to other battle royale games like PUBG, and then even just like a shooter a newer shooter, was it Call of Duty Black Ops 4, I believe we played briefly. It plays so much better than any shooter I've played in a very long time.
I agree.
The motion's it's fast, it's fluid, you're not like blistering across the map, but you don't feel like you're walking through mud like on PUBG. The shooting, I'm sure there's some level of high skill cap. The people like Shroud and stuff that are just going to be like aimbots out there, but it doesn't feel so intimidating like other games where you're just never going to hit somebody, that kind of thing. You
got a little bit of sustainability too. Like you don't feel like you're just getting killed like when somebody gets on you. Like you have a little bit of like time to play around it. You know, which games haven't had that in a while. Like you have a shield and like your health bar is pretty beefy. You don't feel like you're just getting like snuck up behind and like one shot and you're dead.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
The character classes. Yeah. Character classes, I think that was a really nice touch to the game. There's some characters that are better at supporting. They can actually heal you. Other characters that are better at, just in a straight up fight. They have special abilities that call down airstrikes, those kind of things. And I believe there's only one like scouting character, but that's kind of a cool concept as well. Someone that can kind of see
that's really cool.
where other people had been, and finding people.
Might have to check this out, boys.
My character like can phase into invisibility for a few seconds, and I can like get out, and also like I can set up portals to like get my team and like myself to different places, like by like transporting directly to it, which is pretty cool. I haven't really been able to use it well in a fight, but I'm sure there's something there. I'm just like a fucking monkey on the sticks.
The game, honestly, when you say it like that, it does sound like it has like a lot going on, but it's
Yeah, it's simple.
It's very simple, and it feels simple. You're not like, people aren't just like flying like all over the map and things like that. It's still pretty. You can keep a good eye on like everything in front of you. The HUD is just super clean when you're looking to pick up items and things like that. Super intuitive. A lot of things are color coded, which helps. Picking up ammunition for a certain gun, so you're really not. You're not it's not a loot simulator. You know, you're not spending like 30 minutes trying to kit out your gun and things like that. You're just kind of on the fly picking things up, getting into the fights. You feel stronger and weaker at some times, so there's a good contrast there too, as far as, you know, early in the game compared to like later on in the round. You definitely feel like you power up a little bit with better weapons and armor and things like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, sounds pretty good. Sounds interesting.
It is definitely. I think it
Well,
definitely deserves to be the top of the genre.
This doesn't just seem like a hype beast. Yeah, this has some like sustainability to it. It's got some clout, so that's good.
It's good.
Very well made game.
Resident Evil 2. Oh, good. Sorry.
It kind of makes me want to. This was Titanfall, right? Titanfall 1 and 2. I mean, if that's how those games played, which I did not play those. I mean, man, they were really had a treat. That's a great game.
Oh, so this is the version of Titanfall? What's
It's made by this. Yeah. This
okay.
We talked about this last week, remember?
Yes. Yep. I didn't know what it. We didn't talk about the name of it though, did we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's just so many that sound. There's so many games coming out that sound exactly like.
Yeah.
This.
Oh, and like Apex.
No wonder this sounds good. I think they kind of you know, with the classes and the like you said, with the different classes, I think that's what they maybe were going for. If they would add mechs into this, that'd be fucking sick.
Yeah, download it. I might play a game after this anyway. So.
Yeah. Cool.
Resident Evil 2, it's out now. It seems to be very, very well received by the community. Like everybody seems to be like completely raving about it. I bought it. I loved it for the first playthrough. Like it looks great. It sounds great. It plays great. The campaign was like very survival horror. Like I always felt like I was scrounging for bullets and like was, you know, afraid of what was coming around the bend and stuff. But on the second playthrough, I just completely lost interest. And I think the replayability on this game is just not very high. I'm writing a review on it now, which I'll put out in like a week. But I just I don't think it's worth the $60 price tag right now with what's actually in the game. Unfortunately.
You tried to explain it to me. It just sounds really kind of convoluted on why you're even replaying through the game in the first place. Like,
okay, so let me.
Why isn't this just like a standalone? I thought it was just a game, Resident Evil 2.
I think because it was like that originally, so like I think they just paid.
Well, so let me get a different perspective in here from someone who played the original game, and you know, there's a lot of people that love this genre so much, they love this franchise so much that they want to play that through and get that, even if it's like just a simple different perspective, they want that, a different perspective. And I know it's the same, you're going through the same areas basically. From when I played it,
it's different routes. It's like sometimes you get like something, like you'll get like a key on one route earlier than you would in another route, so you have to change like your route like a little bit, like tweak it a little bit, where like you do things like a little differently. But like, does it like really play out that differently? Like, no, it's the same game.
Yeah, but okay. I think you're letting your perspective, and I agree with you. I'm probably the same way. I would probably just play.
I mean, it's definitely my perspective, but it's just like...
No. What I'm saying is like you're putting well, let me. Okay, so it's your perspective, and you're not self-reflecting on like how other people might enjoy it.
No, I'm not saying that. I said that people really enjoy it. I just said for me, I just found the second playthrough to be a bore. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, but no, but that's like the thing with Resident Evil 2 is that second playthrough where it's just like sometimes you're just following in the footsteps of, you know, Leon, or you know, right. Something just happened and you knew that it just happened. You're like, oh shit, like I'm behind him, or you know, and people really like that, and that's like specific to this franchise, and you know, done that as well.
But after you play through it once, so you're essentially running into like the same enemies and bosses, and generally the same location.
I think there's a little different variation, but yes, overall, yes.
Adam, you'd be hard pressed to find the differences if you were just playing through the first time.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I think there are differences, like some zombie locations.
Different zombie locations. Different liquor might come out from a different area.
Is that enough content when the main campaign of the game lasts like 5 hours? Like, I already saw a speedrunner complete it in less than an hour. Like, is that really enough content to have like 4 run-throughs of the same campaign? I just don't think it is for a $60 title. It's just not worth it.
No, yeah, 60. Yeah, well, I mean, I think games are overpriced in general. But I mean, we were just talking about like how the Warhammer sucks money out of the Total War Warhammer franchise sucks money out of people and stuff. But yeah, I think 40 would be. It's all relative, man. I think people who have played the Resident Evil 2, the original, they'd pay 60 and they'd be happy with what they got. But.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Seems like people are happy with it. Yeah, I don't know.
I've heard
harsh on it.
The same criticisms that you gave from people, and I've heard people who are just like, I love it, man. I feel like I'm back in, back when I was a young teenager playing it.
Yeah. Last item, just Kingdom Hearts 3. Unfortunately, I hate to report, I've heard and read some really polarizing reviews on this, and it seems like people like love it or hate it, and I hope when I play it I'm in the love camp and I don't find it lacking.
Yeah, from what I've heard, that it not that it breaks off from the story or anything like that, but it just maybe doesn't have the same feel as other Kingdom Hearts games. Is that kind of like what you were getting from 2?
I think what I'm kind of getting from it, that like I don't think anybody's really hitting the nose on, is that everybody that loved this franchise and the Disney and stuff, like when they loved it, they were 14 and now they're like 27 and now they're like, wait, I don't really like this stuff anymore.
Yep, I'm not a little kid. I'm not a little kid anymore.
I'm serious. Yeah. That's serious. I think like nobody's pointing to it, but it's obviously what's happening. So.
Yeah. Wasn't there a lot of new Disney elements in it that?
Yeah.
Probably just didn't see
people aren't relating with these new Disney. I already said. I'm sorry. That sounded very arrogant, but I said in the earlier podcast when we had mentioned Kingdom Hearts 3 coming out, these new Disney movies don't really resonate with.
They do have. I mean, they do like Toy Story and Monsters Inc. Like
they also have Frozen and Tangled and stuff,
Frozen.
I mean, but younger kids love that stuff. I mean, I mean, when we watch the Disney movies, we're that age too, and we love.
We've gone into it before. They're gonna try to hit all the, especially a game like this. They're gonna try to spread it out and hit all the age groups to get the largest.
What I do know is they isn't nearly as strong as a Final Fantasy presence in this one compared to other ones. There
wasn't a huge one in the other ones. It was more.
I wouldn't say that.
There was definitely a presence, but I mean, in comparison to the Disney themes, no. I mean, it definitely wasn't 50-50.
From what I saw, it was like, you would get a few characters from Final Fantasy games that would you'd actually play. They would play in your group and that kind of thing. Where in 3. Largely, it's kind of just left out or just very sprinkled in.
In the first or in the second one, was it Cloud you fought with? But I think he was the only character you actually fought with. You fight Sephiroth. I mean, that's cool as shit. I mean, that I love that. But I can't really think of a lot of instances. So, Matt, give me your perspective, man. What do you? You're muted.
Yeah, what's up?
Give me your perspective. But you thought there was a lot of examples of Final Fantasy themes in the first 2?
I mean, I feel like I think like that's like Sora and Riku and Kairi. Like I always like think of them as like being more Final Fantasy than Disney because like they look like the Final Fantasy characters, but they're not actual Final Fantasy characters. Do you know what? I think I kind of misspoke.
I agree.
They're
with
like
you.
their own story.
They're like a cross between, in my opinion, between like because the hair, you know, Final Fantasy characters have the hair and shit, you know.
I think of them as being tied in like with the Final Fantasy aspect because like I think they kind of are.
Yeah.
In a sense, and like the Disney.
Yeah,
is
but the
shoes,
you know, the shoes are Disney shoes, and shit, you know. So
those are some Disney shoes.
I get it. They have some big shoes to fill with the Final Fantasy. I get it. Yeah. But hey, that's it for today. Anybody else want to bring anything up before we hop off? I feel like we really, hit it all, but
I'm satisfied. I think we did.
Satisfied.
Everything we wanted to speak about. I think we got to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well then, that's it, and I will talk to you guys next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. Pleasure as always.
Next week.